Welcome back to the Herbalist Hour. Today, I'm honored to have on Jocelyn Perez-Blanco and Laura Rubin with Herbalists Without Borders. Welcome to the show, you two.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yes, thank
Absolutely.
you. Good to see you.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the Herbalist Hour. This is where community gather, merging the power of people and the flowers, the sweet and the bitter to the salty, the sour. Umami, it's time for the Herbalist Hour.
Well, let's get things kicked off here by having a little introduction from each of you. Jocelyn, I'd like to start with you and maybe tell us a little bit about your herbal story. Who are you and what do you do?
Yes. Well, I am someone that wears many hats. So, and Laura knows this. We've connected in so many different ways. But I'm an herbalist as well as an environmental educator. So I'm a super steward with New York City. So I do a lot of conservation, reforestation, invasive species management. And then my background, my mom is from Costa Rica, and I grew up with her, my grandmother, and my great grandmother teaching me. Like herbalism was the the way in our household, the first line of defense. So I was very grateful for that. I definitely didn't appreciate it. Little, if I would be scared to say my stomach hurt because then something, really
Right.
tasting would
Disgusting.
be,
Yeah.
yeah, would be like thrust upon me. So, but yeah, I ended up going to high school for in a special agriculture program. Then in college, I started originally wanted to be a vet. And then that switched, and I went into biology with a specialization in ecology and evolution. So I kind of bridged my love of conservation with my herbalism. So then I founded Urban Garden, which is still running, and where we do educational programs for the public. We introduce folks to local plants, not only invasive species, but like edibles, natives. And then I partner with different organizations for that. And then that's what kind of led me to Herbalists Without Borders, where I really wanted to connect with other herbalists. I felt kind of very isolated. I'm in New York City, so there, you don't really see that many herbalists
Sure.
like out and about. So I started kind of searching for that community. And I found out that at the time, there were no chapters of HWB in New York City. So I started one. That's how I connected with Denise, the former ED. That was the end of like 2016. Then I went on to become a board member for Herbalists Without Borders, then assistant director. And then eventually now I'm the executive director, and it's coming up on a year on October 1st. And during that time, I also connected with the School of Evolutionary Herbalism. And so it's been over 2 years now, and I'm part of their student support team. So I'm kind of like everywhere. And with the AHG, I'm on the board of directors, and I'm the chair of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee.
Wow.
And they have chapters too, and that's how I originally met Laura was through the chapter events when we were kind of trying to rekindle the chapter here in New York. So it's been a winding road, but I try to really, like I mentioned, bridge my love for conservation. So a lot of my work in the background is a lot of like eco herbalism. So I introduce folks to plants, and not only how to remove them when they're supposed to be removed from our parks, but it's a great learning tool because now they can see how it grows, what it smells like. It's not always good to eat it where we find it, but at least, they have it in front of them. So it's like a volunteer plus learning experience. And I really love doing it that way.
Like you said, you wear a lot of hats, and a
Yeah.
lot of times when I ask herbalists, their herbal business advice or whatever, they say you got to wear a lot of different hats. So, yeah. So, Laura, how about you?
Yeah, it's funny. I was gonna say the same thing where it's like you wear a lot of hats, and it's definitely like a culmination of many paths that get you to where you are. So I am a clinical herbalist and flower essence practitioner, and also now I've stepped into a role as herbal educator, which is very exciting. My journey is kind of different than Jocelyn in that I grew up with parents who don't really even like to sit on the grass because it feels good to them, and never had like any kinds of herbs introduced to me in childhood. But I grew up with Crohn's disease, which is an autoimmune disease, and I had that since I was 12. And so once I started to get older, was really looking for ways that I could help feel better because I was sick a lot, and manage that. And so my background is in event production and marketing and brand strategy. I still do that. I still consult in marketing. And I was working at a lot of festivals, producing like really high level events for big brands, traveling a lot, and just like burning myself out really hard in my mid to late 20s. And got really sick, had to have like 2 huge surgeries, bedridden. And that's when I say herbalism shined this like beautiful light in my life, because I was like, my doctors are smart. They're well-intentioned. They're some of the best doctors in New York, where I was living. But they're not my healers. Like, I think healing needs to feel empowering. And I think it needs to like feel like a connection to something. And for me, that was connection to plants and connection to self. So yeah, I was really lucky to do an apprenticeship with an amazing herbalist, Liz Neves, in New York. And then started joining AHG, which is the American Herbalist Guild, and went to many symposiums and started geeking out about the possibilities of what an herbalist could look like, from, working at a school or owning a school to having clinics, street clinics, all kinds of, growers, all kinds of paths. And then was seeking community in New York City and saying, we're a huge city, but not many herbalists. Where are they? Like, it's got everything you could ever desire, but maybe fewer herbalists than one would want. And that's when I connected with Jocelyn. I started as a member of HG and the HG NYC chapter. And then during COVID, actually became the president of New York City chapter as kind of hands changed, people moved away, and was like, I really want to keep this going for the local community. And then also last to plug is that I have a company called Nurture, which is a natural remedies company. And it's also where I offer services. So I see clients one-on-one, supporting them with their health, and really focus a lot on supporting people, especially with like any kind of belly, digestive stuff, mind-gut connection, areas that I've deeply learned in my own healing journey.
And that's nurtureforall.com.
Yes, correct. Nurtureforall.com.
I keep hearing about there's not that many herbalists in New York City. I do know of, like, say, the Arbor School is there. But let's introduce this term called HPC, herbalist per capita. It seems like New York City has a very low HPC, whereas, like, say, a place like Eugene or San Francisco or wherever has a high HPC. I never really thought about that before. There's so many people in New York City. I would think that there would be like a lot of herbalists there, but not so, huh?
No. And I mean,
almost like a concrete jungle there.
Oh, absolutely. But I think it's just that separation. Like, we have the boroughs here in the city too, and so when you go to community gardens, for instance, you do start to connect with a lot of herbalists. Sure. So I love going to community garden events for that reason.
For sure.
Some folks aren't promoting themselves on Instagram, or they've been doing community work for a really long time, and that's social media is just not their thing. And so just kind of going, and you got to look for them. Definitely. They're for there. Sure. But yeah, hard to find.
So Laura, you mentioned a couple of your herbal mentors. Jocelyn, did you have any herbal mentors besides, say, your family?
Oh yeah. I mean, Seja.
For sure.
But oh gosh, Rosemary Gladstar. growing up, that was one of the first like herbal books that I had gotten. Gosh, yeah, I have quite a collection of her books. I have yeah, David Hoffman. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot, but I have a very large book collection, and so yeah.
Herbalists love their books. And stay tuned on the Herbalist Hour. I did a live interview with Rosemary Gladstar at the Great Lakes Herb Fair. So that's coming out next week. Super excited for that one. But just a quick break from the show to thank our presenting sponsor, Oshala Farm. Oshala Farm is a beautiful and vibrant certified organic herb farm based in Southern Oregon, where they grow and sell over 80 different plant species. The founders, Elise and Jeff Higley, have been longtime friends, so I highly trust their growing methods and ethics. You'll love the potency and vibrancy of all the herbs they have to offer. To learn more and purchase their herbs and other organic goods, head to oshalafarm.com. So thanks once again to Oshala Farm for sponsoring the Herbalist Hour. Now back to the show. Enjoy. Jocelyn, why don't you tell us more about the work of Herbalists Without Borders?
Yeah, sure. So HWB, we're a global grassroots organization. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. And so it kind of arose originally from, the idea that we're kind of recognizing the fact that there's a lack of wellness globally. And we wanted to promote health justice. And so we've done that through so many different types of programs. And so we offer seed grants. Right now, we're limited to shipping out to the US because, of course, we can't ship seeds outside due to customs, unfortunately. The plan is to eventually have hubs internationally so that we can kind of collect seeds for folks and to then ship out to those regions. We have our chapters, clinics, and projects. And so we work as basically a fiscal sponsor. And so we have different groups that start to operate under us. There's an application process and training. And then we're able to help them kind of not, so they don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have a lot of the things they're going to need. So if they're wanting to start pop-up clinics, we have like intake form templates. We have resources to kind of help them get started. They can fundraise through us as well. And so we manage all of their accounts. And then, of course, we have our membership. And so there's different levels of membership. We also have financial aid memberships. And it's to, get more information out to the people. Right now, we have accumulated over 1,000 resources that we have available to our members. And we're adding all the time. So there's some fun things that are on the horizon. Some, I'm really excited. More video content, definitely. And yeah, so it's been growing. It's been growing steadily. And now we're also going to be updating the website. So keep an eye out for that. So that's what's been taking up the majority of my time these days. But yeah, new site, new way for everything. There's going to be like modules for like learning modules and everything. I'm really excited. So it's happening.
What is the membership fee?
Yeah, so it ranges. So it's all on a sliding scale. Cool. So we have financial aid memberships available for folks if they wanted monthly, as little as $3 a month. To even 10 a year. So if that's all that you're able to afford. But then there's our individual memberships that can be anywhere from like 40 to 60 per year or $5 to $10 per month. So there's a lot of options. And then we have business memberships that are a little bit higher. But our business, nonprofit, and school memberships, we have offerings where you can bundle. So if you're a business and you want to basically purchase like 10 memberships, for instance, you'd pay that one fee. And then those 10 folks, we would input them into our system and they'd all have memberships. So yeah, with the larger membership levels, there's definitely more options in that regard.
Very cool. Laura, what's your role with HWB?
So I recently joined as a volunteer to be the partner donations coordinator, as well as fundraising. So I was chatting with Jocelyn, catching up with her recently, and she's sharing about all of the things that she's doing with HWB. And I felt that I could probably use some of my skills, not only as an herbalist, but working in marketing, forming brand partnerships and connecting with other brands to help support the amazing work that HWB does. So yeah, that's what I'm currently doing.
Well, that's kind of how we originally started this conversation, was the introduction to Mountain Rose Herbs. Did anything come about from that?
Yes, that was awesome. Super grateful to Haley and the Mountain Rose Herbs team, because they are supporting us in giving some donations for much needed medical and herbal care in Maui. Yeah.
That's great.
Action.
Absolutely.
Very good.
And for context, I didn't even mention that our donation distribution network. So we have one of those as well. So that we have a bunch of partnerships that folks donate to us. Dr. Bronner's, a new chapter.
Oh, cool. And
then we're able to give those supplies out to our chapters, clinics, and projects, but currently US-based projects for now. Yep. But yeah. And so thank you. Yes, Laura, thank you. So she's helped to kind of coordinate to really see what, there's a lot of things on our wish list that we need to have on hand that's really high in demand. And I really appreciate Laura coming in with her superpowers to help us with that.
That is such an important skill set for a nonprofit volunteer to have, is like, say, the marketing and outreach and all that. So good job, Laura. Absolutely. Well, it's kind of on topic. What are some ways this audience is full of herbalists who want to help? What are some ways the audience could help out HWB?
Oh yeah. There's so many ways. Right now, the biggest thing is admin support. So I'm the only office person. So we are not big nonprofit. We don't have a full staff. It's me. And so it's, I need, we've had, interns and stuff, but of course, like the internships, it's for limited times. And so if anyone has any interest in learning how nonprofits work and helping out with office admin, always, if you're a member, every second Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, we have a volunteer call. It's a hangout call. So you can come to even just learn about what type of opportunities. I mean, there's always tasks. There's always things, even helping us with social media, with graphics, monographs. That's another thing. We're trying to build up our archive of monographs. And we make both member-facing and non-member monographs so that they're, we have like clinical monographs and then some short form monographs. There are a couple pages that are open to everyone. So anyone who's interested in making content and helping us out in, day-to-day operations, that's always really, really helpful. Like, yes.
Yeah, I want to say, as I was looking at your website, there's like a staff monograph writer. I can't recall her name, but so it sounds like someone's constantly writing monographs for you. Is that the case?
He's one of our volunteers, Connor. Yes.
That's Connor. That's right.
Yeah. So she's been helping us for like 2 years now with some monographs. So we're very grateful to Connor. Connor, thank you. If you're watching.
So cool.
But we, it's as much help as we could get, it would be very appreciated.
And just to add to that, I mean, when I started joining our HWB and learned all about the resources that we have and, just so many things that HWB does for people around the world, it was clear that this is like a really powerful organization that's actually quite, scrappy and bootstrapped.
Yeah, totally.
And so membership dues are like a main component of how this organization can survive and keep going. And so if you're just even interested to be a member, as Jocelyn said, there's, such a wide range of sliding scale, but like any funds really does help keep this org going to do the work that we do.
Yes, absolutely. And there's so many different, if you want to kind of have a we have general donations. We have the website upgrade, campaign, if that's kind of something you'd want to support. There are several like chapter campaigns that you can go on the site and check out. There's even options if you want to kind of pay forward. So some folks donate so that we can offer scholarships to folks to get full annual memberships. Also, because we're so small, shipping out our donations to distribute them out to our groups, that's one of our highest expenses every year. And so we have a pay it forward campaign that if you're interested in helping out, you can donate to that fund, and then that helps us get these supplies to different groups, and that they can then give out to their community members.
Love it. And I don't think I've said the website yet, but dear listener, the links will be in the podcast show notes, and that's herbalistwithoutborders.org, correct?
It's hwbglobal.org.
Oh my gosh, I'm so bad. Okay. I should have had to pull that. HWB Global.
It's a lot. So yeah, we had to
org.
Had to shrink it.
Right. We will make sure we have the correct URL in the podcast show notes. So awesome. Anything else you want to say about Herbalists Without Borders, either of you, before we move on to the next subject?
I think just, it's been, for me, it's been a transitional year, and, so I'm just I'm really happy with just the direction it's going. We've had like new board members, and it's like a really cool energy. And so I'm really excited, at what is to come, because there's just so much. So, if anyone, we do have, like I said, a board of directors. So, if that's something that interests you in the future, right now, the application to create chapters, clinics, and projects is paused pending the new website. But if that's something of interest, and you can feel free to reach out, and you can just set a Zoom call. I'm a Zoom call away, and you can just connect with me and ask any questions on how to get started and things like that. So I'm just really excited about our trajectory. So I hope people will follow us that way.
Do you want to share your email address?
Oh yeah, sure. director@hwbglobal.org.
Gotcha. How about you, Laura? Any final words for HWB for now?
I just want to shout praise to Jocelyn and all that she does. And say that what an inspiration, one of just like your story and how you're here now. And if anyone wants to get involved and really see themselves in a role similar to what Jocelyn is doing, this is a great way to participate.
Well, y'all are doing fantastic work. I feel like I remember when HWB started, it was always a very exciting project. And I'm actually interviewing Denise Cusack here in a couple weeks. She lives very close to me, a couple hours away. So if either of you or anyone in the audience wants to submit a guest question for Denise Cusack, that'd be fantastic. She's still involved with HWB. Yeah, she's just no longer the executive director.
Yes, so she is one of our board members now, and she continues to be our coordinator of seed grants, which we're very thankful for. And she is also our donation distribution coordinator. So she's the one that's packing all these boxes to go out to our groups. And so she has like boxing days and
boxing days.
Yes.
And you'll get to see, Mason, which I learned from Denise, is that she grows a lot of the herbs that are being distributed.
Wow.
And she formulates tea blends and also creates the flower essences. So a lot of the medicine that people are receiving is actually grown and created by Denise. That's
incredible. Yeah, I'm excited to check out her farm, although we'll be in October in Wisconsin, so I'm not sure what to expect yet, but she is going to be doing a permaculture for herbalists class for us for the schoolhouse, so I'm excited for that. But sweet. Well, thanks, you two. Let's transition a little bit. Jocelyn, can you tell us about your work with the School of Evolutionary Herbalism?
Yeah, sure. Gosh, I love that school so much. I'm very grateful for being part of the team. Yeah, right now, we're so for me, my role basically there is I'm one of those folks. There's a three person team for the student support, and so well plus our manager, but we're the ones that are answering your questions. So if you're emailing in to support@evolutionaryherbalism.com, if you're going on to the chat function, if you're calling in, you're gonna get one of us. And so we're there to answer all your questions regarding the programming, to help folks, make any updates to their accounts, anything like that. And then I also help with moderating the live webinars. So we have student quarterly webinars and the Materia Medica monthly webinars as well. And of course, any launch webinars. So I think that's one of my favorite things to do for EH, and it's the moderation, because I get to really connect with the students, and we shifted from Webinar Jam to Zoom at the beginning of the year. So it's been so fun to actually see these students.
Oh, that's cool.
It's so cool, because a lot of these, we're constantly communicating via email, or they're calling in, and then it's so nice. And we've done it even where like I'll unmute myself like as we're setting up, and folks are like, and it's so great to see their faces. But yeah.
Webinar Jam sounds old school. So I get to just call it EH from now on. Then instead of saying School of Evolutionary Herbalism every time, it's a mouthful.
Sure, yeah, that's internally that's how
sure, of course.
we refer to it.
Well, you do have a launch coming up. It's called the Vitalist Herbal Practitioner Program. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And so there is the mini course. And so the mini course is a series of 3 lessons, and they're only up for like a limited time until enrollment closes. But they serve as a preview for the larger course. And so this is our most clinically oriented program. If this is something that you kind of want, those basic foundations, energetics, like holistic therapeutics, and kind of understanding how the body works, how the plants work, and how they work together. So if you want to kind of bridge that gap, and kind of learn, the foundations on how to be a holistic practitioner, either for yourself, or if this is something that you want to pursue as a business. So it really kind of gives you those foundations. And so it's amazing. There's different options too, and what Seja does is he gives lifetime access. So after the payment plans are complete, and of course, he's in the process of shooting new videos, like new content and things. So if you are already a student, you get that automatically. So you don't have to worry like, oh gosh, he's coming out with a new version of the program in like 2 years or something, and folks might worry that they'll lose out. But no, you'll get access to the legacy version, and you'll get the brand new program. So it's amazing, and he's there. He breaks it down, and so it like for every step of the way. And then we're there, the support team, to also help out. So any questions you can have. So the options are to either submit them directly to us, where if we can't answer, then Seja will answer. And then there's also the options during those live Q&A sessions where you can ask Seja yourself. And so you can get your questions. And then, of course, those are recorded. So, and then there's an entire trove of past webinars for folks to go to. And the whole program is searchable by keyword. And it doesn't only search through the modules, but also through those Q&As. So if the question was brought up and he discussed it, and sometimes during these Q&As, he'll start off with a lesson and then he'll open up for questions. So it's just constant content that's there and all becoming searchable. And it's really, I am very excited for the work that they're doing there, and, and everything, and for the updates. So for the new videos, new content that's coming out, I'm super, super excited.
I love hearing that they're keeping the same Vitalist Herbal Practitioner Program. So you get the old stuff, but then when they roll out the new videos and whatnot, previous students, because we've been signing HerbRally audience members up for years now. And I love knowing that all of those people that signed up previously are going to have access to all this awesome new content. And I got to tell you, Sage's free stuff is awesome. And then the paid stuff is awesome too, because I get access to it. And I've known Sage, I want to say, for probably 12 years. I first met him at the Portland Plant Medicine Gathering way back in the day. And just to see his, I won't say evolution as an herbalist and as a teacher has just been incredible. He's always been really knowledgeable, but just to see the growth in his teaching, and then he's written a book and everything. And yeah, Whitney and Sage has just produced some of the best herbal content out there.
Oh, absolutely. And if you haven't checked out the book, everyone, I definitely have to plug his book.
Sure.
Absolutely amazing. Is wow. And it also comes with a free companion course.
Oh, I didn't know that.
With bonus chapters.
Ooh. Awesome. Well, as I mentioned, this is going to be released in like 9-ish days. So the free material will still be out, as well as the Vitalist Herbal Practitioner Program. The doors will be open, and I want to say this opens up about once per year. So if you're interested, now's the time to register. Did you have anything else you want to say about it, Jocelyn?
Yeah. So on the website, we do have like wait lists available. So if you're not signed up, definitely opt in. And you can check out through different times of the year. You can see if there is a wait list open, because sometimes there are earlier opportunities to join. But yes, usually it's once a year. But in case, definitely check out the website to see if there's a wait list available.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, Laura, it's your turn. Tell us more about Nurture.
Yeah, so Nurture's mission is to empower you to reconnect with your body and the earth. As I mentioned earlier, I really came into this through like my own healing journey and this sense of empowerment of self, right? And how do I connect with the plants in the ground? How do I connect with my body? How do I connect with others? So with Nurture, there's a whole array of different teas that really focus on the mind-gut connection, anything from rest and digest to helping with sleep, energy, focus. There's also some other kind of fun herbal goodies that I make throughout the year. I really try to work like seasonally as well, and using what's around me or what I can get from different herb farms. And then I've stepped into the role as a practitioner as well. So I think I forgot to say this, but last year I had the amazing opportunity to study at the California School of Herbal Studies, which is such a incredible school as well. And if you're looking for an in-person opportunity, which is different than now we can say EH. It's a phenomenal school. Singing back to Rosemary Gladstar, she was one of the original founders, and it's in a beautiful area of West County, which is north of the Bay in California. So big shout out to all of the teachers and mentors there. And through that, I learned more on the end of being a community herbalist and doing clinical work and the therapeutics of herbs, the medicine of herbs. And so I see people now one-on-one to support them with their health. And then actually earlier this year, I had a wonderful opportunity to stay with Lupo Pissarro, who is an incredible flower essence practitioner and teacher. And I actually learned about through HerbRally and listening to their content. And I was like, wow, this herbalist, this person has just summed up flower essences in kind of the most magical way I've ever heard it, and in a way that really makes sense, because that could be a little bit more esoteric for those maybe listeners who aren't familiar with flower essences. It's tapping into the vibrational energy of the plant, and it works on the emotional and physical body. And the way that Lupo has described it, which I really love, is just the way that music has different wavelengths and vibrations that we know definitely affect our moods and our energy. And colors are wavelengths and have different vibrations that affect us. So do plants. right? And I think as herbalists, we definitely get to see that when we're hanging out with plants, that we know they're sending us different messages, and we can feel different emotional states from them. So yeah, I work with flower essences as well, and have been recently teaching a lot more in the Bay Area locally, and a little bit as online too, in a variety of areas, from like 101 to herbalism to DIY botanical mocktails, herbs that are healing for the gut, all kinds of things.
What venue are you teaching at?
I do that currently just through Eventbrite and Zoom.
Oh, nice. So you're the one organizing all these and just various locations and whatnot. That's awesome. Yeah. Right. You are an event organizer after all.
Well, thankfully, at least know how to use that platform and technology. Right. And then I've been doing a bunch in person in the Bay Area where I'm currently at.
Hey, what was that Netflix event that you did? I saw it on your Instagram.
So as we herbalists wear many hats and have different ways to fund our lives, I produce large-scale experiential events, which is my background. So I've worked with, in this past year, different brands like Netflix and Spotify, LinkedIn, ones that I wouldn't really associate with herbs because it's not at all. But I will say that now I bring like a lot of aromatherapy and tinctures and stress relieving things on site. And
that's cool.
I've gotten even like, the most rugged sound guys to be like imbibing in herbs, which is great. So that was an event that I did with them earlier in the year.
Cool. Was David Hoffman at the school when you were at the California school?
Yes, he was. And for our class, he taught a very wonderful working session and workshop on comfrey, and he is an advocate of it.
So we visited him at the California school. I want to say it was like last April, and we recorded a few videos with him, including our most popular video on our YouTube channel, and it's his herbal business advice, and it's incredibly divisive. You either love the video or you hate it. It's just, if you ever want to be entertained, read the comments. But basically, his herbal business advice is don't, as in don't participate. So it's like anti-business advice, but just listening to his explanation is pretty entertaining. He makes some good points, but like I said, it's very divisive, and it's also our most popular YouTube video. So I love that guy, though. He's been a legend in the herbal community for sure.
He feels like a wizard, honestly.
Absolutely.
His voice.
Yeah, totally. Well, why don't we transition a little bit? Thanks for sharing your story, Laura. Let's go into your let's say not herbal business advice. Let's reword that. Do you have any advice for the budding herbalist looking to make a career with herbalism? And Jocelyn, why don't we start with you?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing to keep in mind is try to be as well-rounded
right
as you can be. So I think some folks, sometimes they focus on like just one teacher and they kind of hone in. I think you should try to find as many teachers as possible. And I think sometimes too, try to work with different herbs, and sometimes even see what's calling you. So I think one issue I've seen with even my own students in the past is they kind of like, they're kind of following along with a workbook or something, and they're like, yeah, no, I'm supposed to be learning about nettle right now, but I really want to learn more about valerian or something, and I'm just kind of follow the thread. I think that's the biggest thing, and even in your business. So try to see what lights that fire in you, because there's so many aspects of herbalism. Is it growing the herbs? Is it processing the herbs? Is it really talking and connecting to the people? Is that where you kind of want to approach it? So kind of try to experiment with all these different aspects and different teachers and different practices, and see kind of like try to follow the thread. And because I think in the end you end up doing something you really love, rather than kind of feeling like I'm supposed to be doing it this way. And I think that there's no one way to do it. You have to find your way of doing it.
Such great advice. I love that. Thank you. How about you, Laura?
I would echo that, and also build with two other things. One is like, this is a lifelong career hopefully for many of us. So this is the long haul, and it's very easy for us to want to do all of the things
Yeah.
and want to expect to be at certain places pretty quickly. So the first one is, in your exploration, also like, focus on what calls to you and allow yourself to kind of focus on that direction and path for a while versus grasping at all the things and trying to do it all the time, because we can't. And then the other element of that is just to be gentle on yourself of where your path is. I think hopefully by hearing about our experiences, and with you, Mason, and basically every herbalist that I admire, it took people a long time to get to where they are. This didn't happen in the course of 3 years.
Right.
So being gentle on yourself. And I would say also another way to think about it is to think about how you'd like to visualize your day-to-day. So when Jocelyn brought up, like, are you someone who really wants to connect with people? Would you see yourself working outdoors, leading plant walks, or teaching? Are you wanting to be a lot with people? Or would you actually rather be with plants? Are you someone who thinks that you could be behind a desk and kind of sitting in the space that feels more comfortable to you? So if you can start to envision how you want your day-to-day to be, that can help influence what kind of herbal practice you want in a more professional setting.
I love all that. So I'm hearing patience, envisioning, follow your heart. It's kind of like, I love all that. I kind of say the same thing as you mentioned, Laura. Yeah, when I first started HerbRally, I was like, I want this to kind of be my gig, or one of my gigs after 10 years. You know what I mean? So I set a really long-term goal with that vision, and then followed my heart the whole long while. And both of you, thank you so much. That's great advice for the budding and aspiring herbalist out there. Jocelyn, I saw on your Instagram account a quote of yours. I just thought maybe I would read it and you could expound upon it. You probably don't know what this is yet, or maybe you do. So you said, and I want to say this came from a different podcast you might have been featured on, but I just really liked it. So you have to keep a healthy inner ecosystem and then learn how to be a good steward of your outer ecosystem. Do you want to expound upon that?
Yes, definitely. I think that one of the biggest pitfalls, and it's not just in herbalists, I think this is even in non-herbalists, is that folks forget we've become so disconnected with nature that we forget we're part of nature. We are nature. And so when you're working with herbs, or even just holistic health in general, you're trying to really better yourself. Connecting with nature is part of that. So doing, work with different plants, connecting with them, going out, being exposed to green spaces, and then, working with the plants themselves that you're also working internally with. So just kind of recognizing, just kind of bringing those two kind of concepts together, that you don't just want to help the world around you, but you should be realizing that you are a world in itself. And so you should definitely keep yourself in mind. And so just how we, pull weeds in the outside garden, think about that internally. What are some weeds that you can pull, maybe just negative stimuli that you have around yourself, or what can you do to really cultivate, nourish yourself, and really make your ecosystem blossom, just like the outer ecosystem.
Well said. Are you familiar with Asia Seuler's work at all?
Yes.
So I just interviewed her, and yeah, first of all, in preparation for that interview, I was already kind of like really inspired by her writings and her videos. And then after talking to her, basically the conversation kind of revolved a lot around what you're explaining there. And if people want to, like, say, delve further into what you're talking about right there, I would say look into Asia Seuler's work. I don't know if you have any other recommendations or whatnot, but she's got some great stuff out there online.
Yeah, I recently read Radical Remedies. I want to say it's Brittany Duchamp. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah. I'll look her up, or you can send me a link. Yeah.
Yes, I will. But it definitely, I think a lot of herbalists, I mean, I'm going to say first and foremost, burnout is real. It's not herbalist burnout is very, very
burnout. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can very quickly get there. Yeah. So I think that as herbalists, and healers in general, we often forget to take care of ourselves. We're so busy taking care of others or wanting to take care of others and doing things to achieve that goal that we definitely forget about ourselves. I mean, how many of us have like been doing events and then it's like the evening, you're like, I didn't eat.
Yeah.
Dehydrated.
Right, Laura?
Yeah, it's totally. Or like, yeah, going without sleep. And it's just and I mean, I've found this even within myself where you're so focused on something, you're not even taking the herbs that you that you're recommending to other folks. You completely, like, I'll go sometimes like 2 weeks and realize like I've been so busy, I haven't even been taking like my infusions. I haven't even had a cup of tea these entire 2 weeks. But with that book, Radical Remedies, I felt like she was like screaming at me in the book.
Check that out.
Like, yes, she's like, you have to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else. And that was really like the breadth of the book. And yeah, I definitely felt like yes, I needed that reminder. So that's a great book to check out. So many like recipes and recommendations. It's a beautiful book.
It's a new one for me. Yeah, and I could attest to that. I was also the event planner for Mountain Rose Herbs for a decade, and I swear I never like ate during the event. I'd be like, at the end of the day, I'm like, oh shoot, I need to eat something. Isn't that right, Laura? I don't know if you're the same way or not, but
yeah, you're like not eating, sleeping.
Yeah.
If your friend happens to come to the event, they're like, oh, maybe we can hang out here. You're like, no, I am just like on autopilot. And
right.
So but yeah, again, that's, they're kind of the big wake up call for me in that lifestyle was to slow down. My body literally told me you have to slow down right now. And herbs are great allies in doing that. I also want to, I was just recently went to this beautiful event last Friday and talking about the ways that different people talk about like plants and medicine and how we tune into this. There's an amazing rapper named Lizzie Jeff, who's out of Los Angeles, and she goes by Rap Goddess, and she raps about plant medicine and herbs and higher self and consciousness and refilling the well. Super great person to listen to and a different way to learn about herbs. And so I got to see her perform, and I was at this event and I was connecting with another woman, and we got inspired to create a different event. But we were talking about this element of how giving versus sharing, right? And we don't want to like give a piece of ourselves. We want to share. We want to share our knowledge and our energy with others. And when we're sharing, our cup should really be overflowing so that we have some to share with them, right? We don't want to deplete the well. So we have a vision for this event where I'll make an herbal elixir and everyone will have a chalice, and we'll literally let people self-pour and let it overflow so they can visually see what this feels like to fill self and then be with others.
I love that so much. Such a good visualization too. Can you tell me that rapper's name one more time?
Yes, Lizzie Jeff.
Maybe I could link to her in the podcast show notes,
Yeah,
like Instagram or something, or
too. You know, I don't know if she'd be like a self-proclaimed herbalist. She definitely talks about a bunch of herbs and plants in it, and it's really cool.
do you know Torrin Frost perchance? So
No.
Torrin Frost did the Herbalist Hour intro, which is a rap song, and he's based in Seattle, Washington. And yeah, he raps about herbs all the time as well. I think those two should link up and make an album or something.
Well, actually, I do plant raps too.
Oh, let's hear it. Spit some raps.
I have a marshmallow wrap on the Nurture for All Instagram, as well as one about lavender.
I gotta check that out.
So yeah, it's a fun thing to do. I think also part of healing is play.
Yeah.
And humor.
Yeah.
And sometimes we come from it from, the very heart-centered approach, and there's can be a lot of grieving or releasing, and then there's this silliness of it.
So true. Yeah, I was talking to Asia about that in our episode, and she was talking about how kids are silly and we kind of lose that as we get older. And and I was like talking about going and hugging a tree, in public or whatever, and felt kind of silly, maybe because I was like, is someone going to see me or whatever? But who gives a shit? It felt good, and yeah, it's fun to be silly anyways.
Yeah.
Well, Laura, before we get out of here, I want to hear you talk about your Jewish herbal studies. Can you talk a little bit about that journey and maybe give the listener some resources to look into?
Yes. So, I was born and raised Jewish, and I was really interested. I was unpacking herbalism and learning about different traditions. I was like, what are the Jewish herbal traditions? I was never raised for this, and it's not something you commonly hear about, in compared to maybe other kind of, ancient communities and things like Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine. So I started that path of exploring Jewish herbalism, I'd say like 3 years ago now. And it's really interesting, actually, because when you start to delve into it and when you look at kind of where Jewish herbalism sees like the root of illness, there's a lot of similarities in the way that we talk about energetics with like heating, hot and cold and dry and damp. And so if you want to learn more, there's 2 books, which I actually brought alongside me. One is called Ashkenazi Herbalism, Rediscovering the Herbal Traditions of Eastern European Jews. And this is Dietra Cohen and Adam Siegel. This one was released a few years ago, and I definitely know a lot of Jewish herbalists have engaged with this one. And then another one I want to do a shout out on is this book called Ritual Medical Lore of Sephardic Women, Sweetening the Spirits, Healing the Sick. And this is Isaac Jack Levy and Rosemary Levy Zumwalt. And this one was released in the 90s. And just for some context, so Judaism kind of has 2 overarching ways, I guess I would say, of practicing Judaism based on the diaspora and where people migrated to. So Ashkenazi refers to people like Europe, particularly Eastern Europe. And then Sephardic is the Middle East and Spain. And there's some like different kinds of traditions around that. There's also, if you're on social media and look up the hashtag Jewwitch.
Is that 2 W's?
Yeah, no W.
One.
Yeah, a lot will pop up there, and there's a lot of cool just spirituality and mysticism and things learning about plants in general through that.
Yeah, the authors of the Ashkenazi book are, I believe, in the process of writing another book. So I'm going to have them on the show when they come out with that. I'm yet to pick up that book, but my friend Logan Keister really loves that one.
Yeah, I think it's just helpful context. Again, I actually taught a workshop on Jewish herbalism at a place in Berkeley called Urban Adamah, which is a really cool Jewish permaculture farm. And they do a lot of different events and spiritual practices. And one of the things I shared, I think the reason why maybe this isn't as known is because of that element of diaspora and Jewish people fleeing and moving to all different parts of the world. And so you couldn't kind of have a connection to the same plants that maybe previous generations had, and knowledge would just kind of get lost or hidden in this kind of movement. So it's nice that it's being revitalized.
Totally. How was the workshop received and attended? Was it pretty successful for you?
Yeah, it was beautiful. There was people, it was very multi-generational, which was cool. And some people of varying knowledge. Here in the Bay Area, there, as we mentioned, of herbalists per capita. There's a lot of people who already have like a good working foundation of herbalism, and some who already even read some of these books. So, you know, it's always like playing to different audiences.
Right.
Yeah, it was good.
Sweet. Well, I think we're wrapping up here. I just realized I should have each of you individually on the show to hear more about both of your stories, but it's been a lot of fun getting to know both of you kind of as the group dynamic. But any closing thoughts before we get out of here? We'll start with you, Jocelyn.
Yeah. I mean, thanks again, of course.
Absolutely.
I do offer, I was just thinking this might be helpful for folks because it's a free resource that I have on my site, urbangarden.eco. And so it's a glossary of botanical terms, both herbal terms and botany and horticultural terms in there too. And so, you know, feel free. There's like over 50 pages and I'm consistently adding to it. So if that is of interest, like by all means, it's available for download.
Is that one of those like say pop-ups when they go to your website, or is there like a link on your website to find?
Yeah. So yeah, there is, it's available as a download. So you check it out. It's free. So
awesome. Sweet. We will leave links in the show notes. How about you, Laura?
Well, again, thank you so much for having us. It's such a joy to speak with you and love the work you do.
Thank you.
I think I would just say, also in terms of wanting to connect further with me, you know, my email, I can put it's laura@nurtureforall.com. There's ways to connect with me on my site. And I would say for anyone who maybe is also experiencing any kind of like digestive woes or things, or just feeling vulnerable or just wants to chat, like I'm super happy to chat. That's my life's passion. And I've just known from even meeting other herbalists or listening to other herbalists, sometimes it can be so inspiring to hear their stories. So if you're feeling in a place where you want to connect with someone, I am here for you.
Love that. Well, thank you both so much for joining us on the Herbalist Hour. Again, dear listener, please check out their websites, hwbglobal.org. I think I got that right. Jocelyn, can you say your personal website one more time?
Yes, urbangarden.eco, and it's urban, HERBAN.
That's right. A little play on words there. I like it. And then nurtureforall.com is Laura's website. So, all right, y'all. That's going to do it for this episode. See you in the next Herbalist Hour. Bye. Thanks so much for watching today's episode of the Herbalist Hour. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want more great herbal content, be sure to subscribe to our HerbRally YouTube channel. If you enjoy these Herbalist Hour episodes and you'd like to join us live, you can do so by becoming an HerbRally Schoolhouse member. Learn more at herbrally.com/schoolhouse. And if you want to get your first 30 days for free, use coupon code YouTube30 at checkout. So our HerbRally Schoolhouse members get access to exclusive video classes, monographs, and a lot more herbal community discounts, along with joining these live Herbalist Hour interviews. So one more time, herbrally.com/schoolhouse, enter coupon code YouTube30 at checkout to get your first 30 days for free. All right, we'll see you in the next episode and take care.